Warning, this is a review of Inspiration Manifestation. Darn long titles. This is episode 88 of Friendship is Magic. No audio, video clips from the episode in question were being used in the making of this video, seeing that they belong to Hasbro and DHX Media. Please comment with any questions, comments, and make sure to rate, subscribe, and come back. And if you missed anything, there will be links to the playlist and the previous video for Trade Ya up on the top left and top right corners. Thank you. Well, it's not every day that I get into character to do a review like this, but seeing that Nirvana Sparkle is the alicorn of inspiration, this is right up his alley. So indulge me if you will. Inspiration Manifestation, the 88th Friendship is Magic episode, and yes, it's really been that much, guys. 88. It's quite frankly the worst combination of ideas executed surprisingly well enough where it's not insulting enough to make me barf. And there's quite a bit of character build for both Rarity and Spike's relationship. The last time that Rarity and Spike shared the spotlight this much was back in season 2, Secret of My Excess, and since then, the relationship between them has only been touched on every now and again. Not largely, but in this episode, they spent the time to do it. Now, this is the point of the review where I spoil practically everything in the main plot. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, this is the part where you stop the video, you watch the episode, you come back, and then you hear my thoughts on it. Well, this episode actually starts out with another Ponyville tradition. We went last week from a Rainbow Falls Trading Expo to now a Foal and Filly Fair in Ponyville. God, do these guys do nothing but do stuff? Lord, I wish I was living in a town where we actually did something practically on a week-to-week basis. Rarity wants to add into the festivities by making a puppeteer stage, but it does not go as she hoped, and her confidence is totally shot upon this. What then happens is she goes into a manic depression, even going as far as doing the old adage of a woman when they're depressed, eating lots of ice cream. Way to go, Hasbro! Way to bring up a stereotype that we don't need to see in this show, let alone anyone else. But Spike still believes in her creativity so much that he stops by Celestia and Luna's old crib to try to help with Aloysius in tow. Yes, Spike and Aloysius are actually getting along and are actually quite well friends, although they don't understand each other. It's a nice nod to Owl's Well that ends well all the way back in season 1 to see that relationship has fully developed into something. Upon looking through the bookshelves, he finds a hidden book lodged off in one of the library's hidden compartments, called Inspiration Manifestation. It only has a single spell, though. The spellcaster, upon setting the spell, can make anything she thinks up a reality and a real, no matter how creative it is. And once Rarity gets hold of this spell, well, Rarity goes Rarity. At first, though, it's based in a generous manner. He makes the she makes the puppeteer stand that he was actually asking for. And then once she notices that that works, each of her inspirational ideas becomes even worse and worse in terms of creativity and more based in the needs of her want and her own creative greed. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, Spike isn't even noticing the downward spiral that's happening here, but luckily, Aloysius is right there to try to snap him out of it. But seeing that Spike is a baby dragon, and no, my fellow analyzers, be nice to Spike. Spike has already had to put up with so much stuff this season, he doesn't need the dog pile here. It's really Spike's naivete and his willingness to see Rarity happy that drives a lot of his decision making here. Even if he knows already in the back of his mind that it's wrong. Soon enough, things get way overblown, and her friends are also become victim of Rarity's greedy creativity from Rainbow Dash wearing a dress she doesn't want while she's flying around cloud stomping to Fluttershy's bird getting a mansion instead of a normal birdhouse and being lost in it. All the way to a diamond encrusted golden apple cart. And yes, even a typical Pinkie Pie party being turned into a high class shindig. Eventually, the spell has corrupted Rarity's mind so much that she starts thinking upon bigger things. First off, changing how Equestria looks with roads, more high-end buildings, and even more chaotic things, which actually forces the mayor to call on Twilight to try to figure out what the situation is. And by the way, this is the second acknowledgement in 2 straight weeks of Twilight's princesshood. Could we be onto something here? Here, Rarity wants to take her golden rariots. Oh my god, the ego. It hurts. All the way throughout Equestria to help out with her creativity. But thanks to Spike and Aloysius, Rarity is snapped out of it when Spike finally lets loose and tells the truth that he know he knows it's wrong and that he feared losing a friend by telling the truth about her actions. This fulfills the last part of the spell on how to break her loose, and Rarity snaps out of it while Spike eats the book. Literally, he eats it. Now, the high point of this episode is definitely Tabitha St. Germain talking up Rarity's greed reflex, nurtured creativity. She once again shows her range as a vocal actor and puts Rarity in spots that we've never seen her before and plays it up to the hilt. Spike is finally given a nice role in an episode after so long, and seeing the Spike and Rarity relationship and where it's at right now. Yes, the shippers are going to go crazy again, but it's finally good to see see that Cindy Powell and Megan McCarthy, the writers on this episode, did an excellent job with what could have been an absolute disaster. But that's not to say that the episode is good, though. You see, it's mainly because of Spike's naivete that drives the episode down, and the fact that Spike already knows it's going bad and is just being stupid. They wrote they wrote Spike in one of the worst possible spots, not only of this season, but of his entire character in this show, and it hurts. This could have really been a good showing up for Spike, if not for his growing friendship and almost partnership with Aloysius. This episode would have been the total doldrums. Of course, Rarity shines as always, and the script for her is actually very competent, if not the most competent script I've ever seen performed by Rarity in the series since Rarity Takes Manhattan a few months back. But man, it just shows how weak Spike is as a character. He just can't carry an episode, and it hurts. It really hurts. But at the end of the episode, when everything is fine and dandy, we finally get Twilight's 2 cents, and Twilight is not happy at Spike. You see, we find out from Twilight that it took her, Princess Luna, and Princess Cadence all together to dispel the dark magic, and yes, dark magic used for this inspiration spell. God, if it takes 3 alicorns to dispel a dark magic spell from a normal unicorn that doesn't even know anything about dark magic, imagine what it's going to take when something really evil turns the corner. That's what's called a tease in our business. By and large, the episode fails mainly because of Spike, not because of Rarity. It really shows how much lack of attention has been shown to Spike over the years. Not necessarily lack of growth, but lack of attention to that growth. It seems like the growth from Secret of My Success has been totally ignored in replaced with the naivete of someone who's young and boyish without even learning from his mistakes. Yes, the moral's a good one about trusting your friends enough to speak of the truth when you actually need to. But you see, it doesn't really show any growth in Spike's character. And who's to say this lesson will stick? Because God knows the lessons for Spike so far have barely even stuck as is, if not for Rarity's over the top performance and just the great underlying lesson about the power of dark magic in this universe. This episode would be a complete throwaway. Now, some people might think of this as finally a great episode for Spike Rarity fans and a great episode of the animator's creativity, but I, for one, judge episodes based on the written word. And unfortunately, Megan McCarthy, even though I love you, dear, this is not one of your best works. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to punish it as such. That's why I give Inspiration Manifestation only a 2 out of a possible 6. Once again, the curse of Spike is in effect. And it just hurts at this point. Really, it just does. They can't put Spike in a confident lead role to show himself off, even when he's with his quote unquote main squeeze. Yes, Rarity holds this up from totally being in the disaster period of a 1, but not even Tabitha St. Germain can save this badly written idea and script. Yes, it shows the power of dark magic is something to truly fear. But why do we need Spike to once again be the guinea pig to show us that something in overabundance is bad? Thought we've already gone through this twice. And that's why the episode totally suffers. Hopefully, with the fun and greatness of the Equestria games, I can get the bad taste of this bad episode out of my mouth. Until next week, this is the real Alicorn of Inspiration, Nirvana Sparkle, signing off. Find peace in your own Nirvana. And I'm gonna find some peace by watching maybe a better episode, like Lesson Zero, which, by the way, Megan, nice reference at the end.